Welcome back to our channel. Don't ignore this penny. Learn why, like and subscribe for valuable coin secrets now. The story of the 1985 USA 1-cent penny doesn't begin in the glittering halls of an auction house or inside the velvet-lined cases of seasoned collectors. No, its story often starts somewhere far more ordinary: a pocket, a drawer, the bottom of a dusty coin jar, or slipped into the palm of a child curious about the world. To most, it's just a penny. Dull copper, perhaps tarnished from time and travel, and passed over without a second glance. But every once in a while, within the realm of these unnoticed relics, a single 1985 penny breaks free from mediocrity and into the realm of numismatic legend. The year 1985 was part of a fascinating era for the U.S. Mint. Technology was improving, but so were the chances of anomalies, overlooked details, and minting quirks. These are precisely the things that create extreme value in a world where rarity is king. Many people don't realize just how much effort goes into identifying a truly valuable penny. It's not just the date that matters, it's the entire soul of the coin. Its mint mark. Its weight. The strength of the strike. The presence of any doubling. Even the planchet it was minted on. Now imagine a penny that didn't follow the rules. One that perhaps was struck off center. Or one that carries subtle doubling in Lincoln's profile or lettering. One with a die crack, a misaligned die, or a rare transition in composition that slipped through unnoticed. That's where the 1985 1-cent penny transforms from pocket change to prized possession. Collectors have been stunned over the years to learn that certain rare 1985 Lincoln pennies have fetched jaw-dropping sums in the open market. Depending on their condition, rarity, and error type, these humble copper coins have been sold for anywhere between $55,000 to $110,000. Yes, that's right, a single penny with the right characteristics can demand the kind of money that can buy a luxury car, pay off debt, or even change someone's life. And what's even more compelling is that some of these highly prized specimens have been discovered not in exclusive collections, but in everyday places. Found by curious individuals who simply took the time to look. To wonder. To question. The classic image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, designed by Victor D. Brenner, looks familiar to every American. But even the most familiar face can hide secrets if viewed closely enough. There are examples where Lincoln's profile is softly doubled or where the letters in Liberty seem to have a shadow. On the reverse, the Lincoln Memorial may appear with strange die chips, cracks, or unusual spacing between letters. Any of these traits, combined with pristine condition, can send a penny soaring into financial legend. Coin grading services like PCGS and NGC often report the significance of even the slightest distinctions in minting quality. A coin graded MS-67 or higher from 1985 with no imperfections and a rare variety can become the highlight of a collector's lifetime. This is what sparks obsession in the world of coin hunting. That adrenaline rush when you realize your loose change might be harboring something extraordinary. Tales are told of garage sales and flea markets where someone purchased an old box of coins for pennies on the dollar, only to later find a 1985 1-cent coin that would stun experts with its perfection and scarcity. These aren't just rumors, they are reminders of the possibilities still hiding in plain sight. The penny might seem like the most modest denomination in U.S. currency, but its role in history is anything but minor. It represents persistence, national memory, and in certain rare cases, it represents undiscovered fortune. That's the magic of the 1985 1-cent penny. It's a lesson in paying attention, in respecting the small details, and in never underestimating the power of overlooked things. The next time you scoop up coins from a change tray, don't just glance at the quarters or dimes. Look closely at those pennies. Look for 1985. Look for brilliance in luster, sharpness in strike, oddities in design. Look for the key to a hidden world that connects history, art, money, and mystery. Because sometimes, just sometimes, the smallest coin in your pocket might just carry the biggest surprise of your life. What sets certain 1985 Lincoln pennies apart is the elusive blend of condition, error, and timing. Some were minted at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, while others from Denver carried the D. Collectors often obsess over tiny details like weak strikes, double dies, or zinc rot, flaws that ironically raise the value when preserved correctly. In 1982, the U.S. transitioned from copper to a zinc core with a copper plating, and while most 1985 pennies followed this standard, the rare presence of copper planchets used in error can make those coins exceptionally rare. A full red coin with no tarnish, minimal nicks, and sharp detail is even more valuable, often found encapsulated in professional holders. Interestingly, the true charm of these coins doesn't only lie in their appearance or errors but in their ability to surprise. A coin that once rattled around in someone's car ashtray or lay forgotten behind furniture can turn out to be a numismatic gem. These aren't just coins, they are remnants of an era, silent keepers of commerce, luck, and daily life. That you might own one and not know it makes this entire journey even more thrilling. Search your jars, your drawers, and your pockets. That penny could be the one, a hidden gem worth up to $110,000. In the vast world of coin collecting, never underestimate the little things. After all, it's the smallest coin that might just carry the biggest story. The tale of the 1982 USA 1-cent penny is unlike most in the world of coin collecting. What appears at first glance to be a simple coin, plain, coppery, and easily overlooked, holds layers of history, mystery, and value that have fascinated collectors for decades. The year 1982 was not just another routine year at the United States Mint. It marked a pivotal transition in the composition of the 1-cent coin, and this change has made the 1982 penny one of the most complex, studied, and collected coins in American numismatic history. Prior to 1982, pennies were made mostly of copper. But that year, the rising cost of copper forced the U.S. Mint to change the composition of the cent to a zinc core with a thin copper coating. However, the transition wasn't smooth or immediate. Instead, both copper and zinc pennies were minted throughout the year, resulting in multiple varieties, including large and small dates for each composition. It was a time of experimentation, and in that process, several intriguing and rare coins were unintentionally created. Among them, certain copper pennies minted in conditions when the transition had already officially begun have become immensely valuable. Imagine holding what appears to be an ordinary penny from 1982, only to discover it was struck on a bronze planchet instead of the new zinc one. This subtle difference in weight, color, and sound can mean the difference between pocket change and an absolute treasure. And that's no exaggeration. Some rare examples of the 1982 1-cent penny have sold for staggering prices between $60,000 and $120,000, depending on their variety, condition, and rarity. What's particularly captivating is the number of combinations collectors must examine: copper large date, copper small date, zinc large date, zinc small date, each with distinct weight and appearance. And among these are the ultra-rare errors, like a copper small date penny struck in a facility that was believed to be using only zinc planchets at the time. These anomalies are the heartbeat of numismatics, driving collectors to scrutinize every 1982 penny they come across. To most, a 1982 penny doesn't raise an eyebrow. It's the coin tossed into the tip jar or forgotten in the corner of a drawer. But to the trained eye and the curious mind, it's an invitation to solve a riddle hidden in plain sight. The telltale signs, a subtle difference in font size, the weight on a precise digital scale, the sheen of the metal, these are clues that can lead to discovery. And it is this very journey of discovery that makes the 1982 penny such a legend. Collectors often use digital scales to distinguish between copper and zinc pennies. A copper penny from 1982 weighs approximately 3.11 grams, while the newer zinc version is only about 2.5 grams. This seemingly minor difference has created a massive split in collector interest. And for those with a sharp eye and a good scale, the reward can be unimaginable. Stories abound of coin enthusiasts finding rare 1982 copper small date pennies in circulated rolls from banks, estate sales, or even inside old change jars. It's not always about what you pay to get the coin, it's often about paying attention. What makes the 1982 penny particularly captivating is its bridge-like status. It connects two eras in American minting, the past of solid copper coins and the future of cost-efficient zinc. That one year, that narrow bridge, left behind a series of fascinating anomalies that still surface today, often to the surprise of those who assumed they had nothing more than a penny. The Lincoln portrait on the obverse, designed by Victor D. Brenner, remains unchanged. The Lincoln memorial on the reverse is just as familiar. But the composition, the font, the weight, those are what hold the key to its fortune, and there's a poetic charm in that. That something so small, so seemingly insignificant, could contain within it a story of economic change, historical transition, and enduring value. That a coin minted during a shift in metal composition would itself become a metal worth so much. Collectors continue to pursue every 1982 variety with intensity. Professional Coin Grading Services, PCGS, and Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, NGC, have authenticated some of these rarities, placing them in secure holders and verifying their extraordinary worth. So if you happen to find a 1982 penny, don't toss it aside. Instead, weigh it, examine the date closely, inspect the strike, the edges, and any abnormalities. You might be holding one of the elusive copper small date varieties that have stunned the numismatic world and commanded prices up to $120,000. These aren't coins you simply spend. These are coins you discover. Coins you treasure. Coins that remind you that even the smallest objects can carry the weight of history, and sometimes, a fortune. The 1982 USA 1-cent penny, in all its transitional complexity, remains a symbol of hidden value. A reminder that the extraordinary often hides in the ordinary, and that sometimes, 1 cent can truly change your life. The 1978 USA 1-cent penny often goes unnoticed, quietly sitting in coin jars and old drawers across America. But behind this modest exterior lies a piece of history infused with rarity, charm, and hidden value. To seasoned numismatists and everyday collectors alike, this particular penny carries a unique allure, one that stems from a mix of historical timing, minting precision, and a dash of mystery. When you first pick up a 1978 penny, you're greeted by the familiar image of Abraham Lincoln, his profile captured with dignity and detail. This design, crafted by Victor D. Brenner, had already been gracing the penny for nearly 7 decades by that time. On the reverse side is the Lincoln Memorial, designed by Frank Casparo, which had become the standard design since 1959. These familiar elements, however, mask the distinctive qualities that can make certain 1978 pennies worth a small fortune. By 1978, the U.S. Mint had fully embraced the use of copper-based coinage for the 1-cent piece, just a few years before transitioning to copper-plated zinc in 1982. This means the 1978 penny is solid copper, giving it a substantial feel and a resonant sound. But it's not the composition alone that excites collectors, it's the variations and the condition that matter most. Within the world of coin collecting, condition is king. The grading scale used to evaluate coins places top value on those in mint state, pristine, uncirculated coins with no marks, wear, or damage. A 1978 penny in MS67 or higher, particularly one preserved in flawless detail with full luster, is exceptionally rare. When such a coin is combined with subtle minting anomalies, like die breaks, off-center strikes, or rare repunched mint marks, it becomes a prized possession. One of the more captivating reasons why collectors cherish the 1978 penny is due to the scarcity of high-grade specimens. Most pennies from this era were used daily and endured decades of wear. Finding one in near-perfect condition today is not just difficult, it's extraordinary. And this extraordinary status is reflected in its current market value, where select examples in elite condition have been known to fetch between $60,000 and $120,000. That number may sound surreal, but it's grounded in market data, auction results, and the simple truth that demand drives value. As more collectors become aware of the potential in these vintage coins, competition intensifies. What was once loose change is now treated as potential treasure, often kept in protective cases, graded by professional services, and passed down through generations. Interestingly, not all valuable 1978 pennies are known for errors. Some are simply celebrated for their pristine condition, untouched surfaces, and full red coloring, a grading term used to describe the original bright copper hue that fades over time. These fully red, gem-quality coins are incredibly difficult to find, especially from a year when hundreds of millions were minted for everyday use. This brings us to the thrill of discovery. Imagine stumbling upon a coin you've seen 1,000 times, only to realize it's a rare specimen with a 6-figure valuation. That's the charm of the 1978 penny. It encourages us to look closer, to pay attention, and to consider the hidden stories behind ordinary objects. Many of the highest valued examples were found not by professionals, but by casual collectors, sharp-eyed enthusiasts, and even children sorting through inherited jars of change. The 1978 penny is more than just a coin, it's a symbol of the unexpected. Its copper glint hides its true worth, waiting to be recognized by someone with curiosity and knowledge. And while not every penny from that year will reach the top of the valuation charts, the hunt itself is part of the magic. This humble cent, with Lincoln's unwavering gaze and the quiet strength of the Lincoln Memorial on its reverse, invites us to explore. It reminds us that history is not only in textbooks but also in our hands. With a value that can soar as high as $120,000, the 1978 USA 1-cent penny proves that greatness often comes in the smallest packages. So next time you're holding change in your palm, take a moment. Turn the coins over, look at the dates, and appreciate the craftsmanship. You might be holding a key to numismatic history, an heirloom waiting to be discovered, or a tiny treasure that once went unnoticed, until now. The 1984 USA 1-cent penny tells a story of transition, subtle rarity, and the unexpected magic that lingers in everyday objects. To those outside the numismatic world, it may be hard to believe that something so common in appearance could hold the power to excite collectors, historians, and auction houses alike. But that's exactly what makes this coin fascinating. Its value lies not only in the copper it contains or the date it displays, but in the details hidden beneath its tiny surface. Minted in the mid-1980s, a period marked by shifting priorities and modernizations within the U.S. Mint, the 1984 penny sits at a crossroads in American coinage. By then, the transition from solid copper to copper-plated zinc had already occurred, with 1982 being the pivotal year. Thus, the 1984 penny belongs to the newer generation of coins, yet it still manages to hold its own in value thanks to a very specific feature: era varieties and pristine preservation. On its obverse is the timeless image of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor D. Brenner, who originally sculpted this portrait back in 1909. The reverse side features the Lincoln Memorial, as envisioned by Frank Gasparo, where if you look closely, you can even make out a tiny statue of Lincoln between the columns. But collectors aren't just seeking the design, they're on the hunt for precision, rarity, and distinction. One particular feature has made the 1984 penny famous in coin circles: the double die variety. This means that during the minting process, the die used to strike the coin shifted slightly, creating a doubling effect, especially noticeable on Lincoln's earlobe. This variety, now known as the 1984 double-ear penny, has gained significant fame. It's one of those rare errors that turns a regular coin into a collector's centerpiece. The value of such a penny depends largely on its grade and whether or not it carries that doubling error. In the numismatic community, coins are graded on a scale, with mint state, MS, coins being the most prized. A standard 1984 penny in MS 67 condition, with no wear and full original luster, is already rare. When combined with a recognized doubling error, its value skyrockets. Currently, select examples of the 1984 penny with the doubled ear in flawless condition are being valued between $56,000 and $110,000. Just imagine, tucked away in an old jar, passed over in daily change, or forgotten at the bottom of a drawer, one of these unassuming coins could be sitting, waiting to be rediscovered. Stories abound of people stumbling across them during casual coin sorting sessions or family inheritance reviews. What looks like a simple cent could very well be a treasure. What adds further intrigue to the 1984 penny is its context. This was an era when mass production was intensifying, and the pressure to streamline minting meant errors, while unintended, did occur. The double die error was not caught right away, and by the time it was, several thousand had already made their way into circulation. Though not all survived the decades, enough did to create a chase for those in exceptional condition. The idea that a 1-cent coin could be worth thousands, let alone tens of thousands, captures the imagination. It's a reminder that not all treasures come in gold or silver. Sometimes, they arrive clad in copper, bearing the quiet resilience of history, craftsmanship, and chance. The 1984 penny stands as a humble piece of American heritage, a token from a time when errors became icons, and ordinary coins were elevated by the beauty of imperfection. Collectors across the globe seek these elusive specimens. Some target raw, ungraded examples in hopes of uncovering the next high-grade submission, while others place their trust in certified coins, encapsulated in tamper-proof holders with recognized grading authority stamps. Both paths carry the thrill of the hunt, driven by the same question: is this the one? In a world increasingly driven by the digital and disposable, the 1984 penny anchors us to something tactile and enduring. It's not just about the monetary value, though a coin valued at up to $110,000 is certainly worth a second glance. It's about the stories, the thrill, and the awe of discovering that something so small can be so significant. So the next time you pick up a penny, pause. Flip it in your hand. Check the date. Look for that subtle doubling on Lincoln's ear. What might seem like pocket change could, in reality, be the key to unlocking a forgotten chapter of American numismatic lore. The 1984 1-cent penny may appear modest, but its legacy, and potential value, proves it's anything but. In a quiet Midwestern town in the spring of 1990, the buzz of coin collecting was almost non-existent. People went about their daily routines, indifferent to the small copper-colored discs that jingled in their pockets. But tucked within one of those pockets, perhaps held unknowingly by a child buying candy or an elderly man grabbing a newspaper, was a penny, just a penny, but not just any penny. It was a 1990 Lincoln cent, a coin destined for a spotlight in history books, auction houses, and collectors' dreams. Its story, like so many numismatic treasures, began in the most ordinary place. The United States Mint, the 1990 Lincoln cent, at first glance, is no different from billions of its kind. It features the iconic profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, sculpted by Victor David Brenner in 1909 to honor the centennial of Lincoln's birth. The reverse displays the Lincoln Memorial, a design by Frank Gasparo that had been in use since 1959. It was minted in Philadelphia and Denver, though none from Philadelphia bore a mint mark. It measured 19.05 millimeters in diameter, weighed 2.5 grams, and was composed primarily of zinc with a thin copper coating. By all standards, it was unremarkable, until it wasn't. You see, while billions of 1990 pennies flowed from the presses, a rare variation emerged, hidden among the common. One of the most intriguing versions is the 1990 no-S proof Lincoln cent, mistakenly struck without the S mint mark that typically denotes the San Francisco Mint. But beyond even that, another variant started drawing intense attention: 1990 pennies with incredibly sharp details, rare errors, and unmistakable minting anomalies that defied the ordinary. As word spread, the coin world tilted its ears toward this humble penny with growing interest. What made the 1990 Lincoln cent stand apart wasn't just the accidental omission of a mint mark or slight doubling under magnification, it was the awakening of the numismatic community to its sheer scarcity in certain pristine conditions. Some 1990 pennies exhibited what collectors call full steps on the Lincoln Memorial, perfectly struck lines that are rare due to the coin's small surface area. Others were struck on older copper planchets by mistake, as the U.S. Mint had fully transitioned to zinc composition years earlier. These error coins, and others struck from fresh dies with razor-sharp clarity, began fetching prices few thought possible for a penny. Collectors scoured their change jars and rolled coins with new excitement. Dealers began double-checking inventory they once dismissed. Auctions started heating up, not just for proof coins or famous no-S errors, but for high-grade, uncirculated, red-tone 1990 pennies that stunned even the most seasoned experts. The journey of one such coin was particularly remarkable. A man named Greg, a retired electrician from Ohio, had taken up coin collecting to pass the time. He found serenity in the organization, the attention to detail, and the history behind each piece. One day, while sifting through a shoebox full of pennies he had stashed away since the 90s, his magnifying glass caught something strange. The luster on one coin was unusually brilliant. The strike looked almost surreal in its precision. He sent the coin to a grading service, almost as a joke, expecting nothing more than a "maybe this is worth a few bucks" outcome. When the report came back with an MS-69 red designation, a near-perfect grade, Greg's quiet retirement turned electric. The coin was unique in its quality. Only a handful of 1990 pennies had ever reached such heights in grading. When it finally hit the auction block, the final hammer price stunned everyone in attendance. Somewhere in the middle of this coin's newfound fame, experts began estimating its value range to be between $50,000 to $100,000, depending on condition, strike quality, and errors. This was no longer just about metal content or historical figures. This was about rarity meeting demand, about the beauty of small details being recognized and rewarded. Even common pennies, once overlooked, were now being eyed with suspicion, wonder, and sometimes obsession. Greg's 1990 penny wasn't alone. Stories began to pour in from other corners of the country. A teenage girl in Michigan found one in her late grandfather's coin collection, another MS-68 specimen. A teacher in Texas stumbled upon a 1990 penny with an off-center strike and sharp luster, later selling it to a private collector for tens of thousands of dollars. These tales began weaving together a broader tapestry, showing that even the most overlooked coin could contain unimaginable value, unlike the sensational dollar coins of the 19th century or the famed buffalo nickels of the early 1900s. The 1990 penny's fame grew quietly but forcefully. It was a modern legend, proof that the coin-collecting world still held surprises, even in the pocket change of living generations. As collectors began assembling 1990 Lincoln cent registry sets, a friendly competition unfolded. Who would gather the most pristine examples? Who could find the missing link, the elusive mint error, the proof with doubled dies, the no-mint mark version that rivaled the famous 1990 no-S proof cent? Prices fluctuated, demand rose, and the coin began achieving a level of reverence it had never known before. The real beauty of the 1990 penny wasn't just in the money it commanded, it was in what it represented. Hope. Surprise. Hidden value in unexpected places. For every seasoned numismatist or novice collector, it was a reminder that even in something as ordinary as a penny, history could shimmer.